Before starting to teach, let's first understanding the basic production pipeline. Generally speaking, the production pipeline of a GAN asset involves three stages: pre-production, production, and post-production. Pre-production mainly includes preparation, design ideas, brainstorming, etc. After the design is set, the production stage begins, and only then does the production of 3D assets start. Once production is completed, the assets are imported into the GAN engine for integration. Let's see pre-production stage. When a project is determined, it will be given a code name, and the project will be operated under this code name during the production period. In the pre-production stage, we plan and design the related folder structure, naming convention, tool settings, and gather available resources based on the project. After the preparation is completed, you will usually start creating the concept art and the tech board for the related asset. However, since this course focuses on the production of 3D assets, it will mainly address the light red parts in this table. The other stages are not likely to be included in this course. The example for this course is creating an MMA fighter, the mixed martial arts. You can follow this example, or you can design and create the character you want. If you find a character design you like on the internet, you can also try to create it in 3D. But remember that you must obtain the consent of the original artist before publishing it. Now, let's see the production stage. Entering the production phase means officially starting the production of 3D assets. We usually begin with the modeling of a blockout mesh. In the industry, you might hear terms like block mesh, gray box, or placeholder. These terms may have more precise meanings, but the key point is that the model at this stage is not the final version, but a rough version. It mainly helps us define the size, silhouette, and the proportions of the character early on. After completing the blockout mesh, we move on to high poly model production, which is the most time-consuming stage of the entire production process. You need a lot of passion at this phase. Although this phase takes the most time, we must ensure it is done as well as possible, as the quality here will directly affect the final product. In general project production, it is common to repeatedly revise and adjust high poly models. After completing the high poly model, we start the retopology of the low poly model. At this stage, we prepare the model for use in the GAN engine, finding the best balance between visual quality and computer performance. Next to the low poly model is UV unfolding, which prepares the model for texture baking and painting later. You may have seen a lot of automatic UV layout on the internet, so you think this stage may be simple and fast. But in fact, we rarely use automatic UV layout during production. We still rely on manual arrangement. because automatic UV layout is often difficult to use. A good UV layout would affect your baking result, and a good baking result will affect the quality of your textures. For large-scale projects or complex asset production, we usually prepare the necessary base materials before proceeding to texture painting. Although the examples in this course are relatively simple and do not require special preparation in advance, you would generally prepare base materials for faster texture painting later. Once all the model and textures are completed and integrated, we can consider the production of this asset finish. Typically, the asset will be integrated into the game engine for further adjustments. But this course will not cover the game engine part, so we will focus on lighting and rendering next. Generally speaking, lighting and rendering will be included in the post-production stage. But because this course does not cover the game engine part, we can integrate lighting and rendering directly into the production of the asset. After lighting and rendering are completed, the final finishing touch can be done. Now it's time to move on specification. In a normal formal project, we will definitely define the production specifications of the project first, so that the team can then follow the production instructions. Different projects will have different specifications, so there is no universal specification suitable for all projects. I've seen over 400 pages of specifications before, and I've also encountered situations where I had to build a specification from scratch because the client didn't provide it. Taking this course as an example, we are expected to create a real-time hero character, so we can put more resources and focus on this character. For a hero character in a modern AAA video game, party count in the 100k to 200k triangle range are common. This is including all parts. Of course, different types of game will have different standards. For example, the number of party counts in a Diablo type game will be different than the number of party count in a Street Fighter type game, because the screen ratio of the characters in the game is very different. There are no universal rules for party count. The only golden rule to follow is to find the best balance between video quality and computer performance. We will explain this in more detail later when making low poly. For texture formats, generally common formats are TGA or DDS. Sometimes we use PNG. This course will mainly use TGA. The advantage is that the file size is smaller and supports 4 channels, RGBA, but it only supports 8-bit. PNG, on the other hand, can support up to 16-bit, which is suitable for normal maps that require higher quality. But the file size is also larger. Next, folder structure. Good organization is very important in production, which is why we must have a good folder structure. Generally speaking, we will classify based on the three major stages of production. And then, during the production phase, I tend to segment the folders based on the software we use. All output parts are stored in one folder so that they will be clear during production. Naming convention. Each project will have a different naming convention. Developing good naming habit is very important to the progress of the project. The examples in this course are relatively small, so you may not think naming is important. But when the project size becomes larger, good naming will become really important and save your life. In the document folder, you can see the naming convention file. This is a simple naming rule designed for this course. You can organize your file names according to this example. Tool settings. Before starting any production, we will first ensure that the tool settings meet our needs, such as preference or shortcuts. In the industry, when different companies work on the same project, they will try their best to unify the working environment they use to ensure that each other's work can be seamlessly connected. Gather a valuable resource. Before any project starts, we will collect as many available resources as possible, including reference images, video, alpha, brush, material, add-on plugins, etc. Most studios will have their own material library. Even if you are doing personal work, it is recommended to build your own material library as well. Although this course will be made from scratch as much as possible for the purpose of learning, in actual work, we will use available materials as much as possible to speed up our production. When all the preparation is done, we can officially start the production of the project.